Hello, my dear students. Today we are going to learn about bacteria. In our common view, bacteria seem to be harmful because since the childhood we have been getting different kinds of diseases. We have got a bad impression that bacteria cause diseases. That is only 1%. But 99% of bacteria are useful to us. They are useful in a different kinds of things. They are useful in agriculture. They are useful in food production. They are useful in production of medicines. They are useful in industrial production. They are must for maintaining ecological balance. So many benefits are there. Those things we are going to see what are the different kinds of bacteria and how they are useful in our daily living. See here they are useful for mineralization. Minerals. So minerals are chemical elements. Minerals are converted into organic compounds. Organic compounds means what? They may be plants, animals, human beings, their flesh, their blood, their body organs, bones. So minerals are converted into plants, animals, and again after the death and decay of those plants and animals, so those organic things are going to be converted into minerals. So minerals are produced because of the activity of these bacteria. We call those bacteria as decomposers. D means remove, compose. Composer को opposite decomposers. Decomposition of plants and animals into minerals. So that's how we are getting organic manure for our agricultural crops. FYM, that is farmyard manure, this compost. These things we are getting from bacteria only. Besides bacteria, some other microorganisms are there. We know fertilizer factories, but we don't know the microscopic bacteria which are producing manures, organic fertilizers for our agricultural crops, for our forest trees. So that is a nutrient recycling. Nutrient cycling in the environment, in the ecosystem is going on because of this bacteria. Next one, they are useful in nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen, about 78% of atmosphere is nitrogen. Our body consists of proteins. The major part of the body is proteins. The protein, the chief element is nitrogen. From where that nitrogen is coming? That nitrogen is from a bacteria. So different kinds of bacteria are working in a environment. There are ammonifying bacteria, nitrification bacteria, denitrification bacteria. For example, ammonium from plants, animals. Here fish is given. Ammonia is formed. Ammonia is converted into nitrates by nitrosomonas. Nitrates into nitrates by nitrobacter. Then nitrates, nitrogen fixation. All these things are being done by bacteria. Next one, nitrogen fixation. Atmospheric nitrogen cannot be utilized by plants and animals. That is to be converted into useful forms by nitrification bacteria. So here you can see leguminous plants and their roots. They have different kinds of root nodules. You can see here in those root nodules this red colored pigmented thing. What we are seeing is that is bacteria, Rhizobium bacteria. Billions of Rhizobium bacteria are present in the root nodules of groundnut plant, peanut plant, red gram, Bengal gram, green gram, black gram, like the different kinds of leguminous plants. In their roots, bacteria are present. We call them as Rhizobium. They convert nitrogen in air into useful form, that is actually used by these plants. So next one, phosphorus. You might have seen in fertilizer shops, urea, phosphate, NPK fertilizers. So actually these fertilizers are present in soil, in rocks. Phosphate is present. This phosphate is not in available form, that is in a fixed form, but bacteria like a PSB, phosphate solubilizing bacteria, they solubilize, they convert the fixed phosphate in rocks into useful PO4 minus ions. PO4 minus ion, these ions are absorbed by plants. In the same way, KSB, potassium solubilizing bacteria, they transform the fixed form of potassium into K plus ions. So these bacteria are usually biological control. We use pesticides, fungicides, we use bactericides, like the different kinds of chemicals we use to control pests and diseases on our crop plants. No need, but some bacteria, for example Bacillus thuringiensis, that abbreviation is a capital B small t. So from this Bacillus thuringiensis, we transfer disease resistant genes from one kind of a plant to the other plant, and we produce different kinds of genetically modified crops. For example, BT cotton, that is a Bacillus thuringiensis. This is useful to control bollworm, the very dangerous pest on a cotton crop. So you have understood. So what are the different uses of bacteria in agriculture? So we cannot expect the human life without bacteria. Without bacteria, we cannot survive. Though some bacteria cause diseases, they may lead to death of the human beings, animals and plants, but majority of bacteria are useful in our survival, in our existence. We can't live without them. For example, here you see bacteroid is 100 trillion, not billion, thousands of crores of bacteria are present in our mouth, in our esophagus, in our digestive system, in our alimentary canal, in the stomach, intestine. About 300 to 1000 species or varieties of bacteria are present, especially Lactobacillus, Acidophilus, Bifidobacterium, bifidum. These bacteria are useful for our digestion, for the production of vitamins, enzymes. Without that, we cannot digest our food. So in the same way, vitamin production, different kinds of vitamins are produced by bacteria. For example, here you see those bacteria we call probiotic bacteria, or gut microbiota we call them. So for example, vitamin K, vitamin B vitamins like biotin, cobalamin, folates, nicotinic acid, pantothenic acid, pyridoxine, riboflavin, thiamine. So many different kinds of vitamins, especially vitamin K and B, are produced by microorganisms or bacteria present in our intestine. So they produce enzymes also, microbial enzyme, hydrolytic enzymes, digestive enzymes. These enzymes are useful in digestion, like proteases, which convert proteins into amino acids, amylases, which convert starch into glucose and fructose, pectinases, which convert pectin substances. So different kinds of bacteria produce different kinds of enzymes in our body. Curdling of is, curd, the favorite food for many in India. So the milk is converted into curd. Whether you take milk, if you take milk as it is, that is going to be converted into curd in intestine, or you can make a curd at your home. You take some starter milk of some curd, and if you add that curd to milk, that milk will be converted into curd because of a bacterium called Lactobacillus as acidic pH. So in actually in milk a protein is present called casein or calcium or containing protein that curdles and lumps ka gaddal ka, so that liquid will be there, we call it as whey. So curd is produced because of bacterium. A similar kind of curd, a curd kind of a dairy product is called, we call them as a yogurt. So Lactobacillus bulgaricus, Streptococcus, Thermophilus, these two kinds of bacteria produce a yogurt. So what is the difference between curd and yogurt is curd is not a fermentation product, but yogurt is a fermentation product. In the same way, cheese production, cheese is produced by different kinds of bacteria. You can see very beautiful cheese pieces you can find here. Lactobacillus, Streptococcus, Propionibacter, Shermani. So this last one, Propionibacter, this produces a Swiss cheese. So you can see I like holes, no? Those holes are formed because of carbon dioxide gas bubbles emitted by bacterium. The taste, the appearance of cheese is also due to bacteria. Soya chars, that is a Tetragenococcus, Staphylococcus, Clusi, Staphylococcus gallinarum, this kind of bacteria, they produce a soya sauce. This is produced from soya beans. So East Asian liquid sauce is very famous in China and Japan. This is due to fermentation by bacteria. In the same way, pure tea, fermented tea, in Yunnan province of China, this a famous popular tea is also produced because of fermentation by bacteria. So sauerkraut, this is a kind of food product made from cabbage. So leuconostoc, mesenteroids, pediococcus, lactobacillus, paracasi, fermented cabbage. This product is made by bacteria. Coffee, lactic acid bacterial fermentation is required for production of coffee from coffee beans. You can see coffee beans here. From these beans the coffee powder is produced. This is cocoa, your favorite chocolates. This cocoa is also being fermented. You can see cocoa beans. From these cocoa fruits and beans, chocolates are produced because of bacterial fermentation. Lactic acid bacteria, acidic acid bacteria are useful. Single cell proteins, we find protein supplements in medical shops, that is also produced from single celled algae or single celled bacteria. For example, Metallophilus metallotrophus, this bacteria single cell proteins are produced. They are useful as a cattle food for cattle, for cows, for oxen, for buffaloes. This cattle feed is used. Like this, different kinds of fruit products we are getting. Bacteria are useful in production of antibiotics. Antibiotic is any substance produced by one microorganism which is used to treat the diseases is called antibiotics. Antibiotics actually, that it was discovered in Penicillium notatum by Alexander Fleming. But here I am talking about antibiotics not from fungus but from bacteria. For example, streptomycin. This antibiotic is made from Streptomyces graeus, just like tetracycline from Rhizobus, vancomycin from orientalis. So antibiotics these are made from bacteria. Vaccines against tuberculosis, that is TB, diphtheria, whooping cough, the bad cough, tetanus, TT injections we take pertussis, Haemophilus influenzae type B, cholera, typhoid, Streptococcus, pneumonia fever. Against them different kinds of vaccines are there. They are all made from this bacteria only. From bacteria, scientists produce these vaccines. Steroids, for example, allergies might be there in people. Different kinds of allergies. Against them, doctors suggest steroids. So myxobacterial steroids, they are synthesized by biotechnology method in laboratories, so by a process called cloning. Steroids are also being produced by bacteria nowadays. Gene therapy, if some children are born with genetic defects or from parents itself they may get some kind of hereditary diseases. For this kind of patients, doctors, biotechnology scientists in the laboratories, they modify the genes in the body itself and they are introduced through the bacteria into our body cells. So in gene therapy also, in medicine also, number of bacteria in number of ways they are being used. Not only the food production, agricultural production, in industries also. Jute, jute gunny bags, these are actually products of plants. These plants actually, after cutting the plants, they are kept in water. They are kept in water. So in water, bacteria act upon this plant material and they detach the fiber from the plants, and so we can make a jute. We call this as a retting. For example, different kinds of bacteria like Achromobacter, Parvulus, Clostridium vigerincai, Clostridium perenne, Pseudomonas, aeruginosa. This kind of bacteria are responsible for retting and production of jute. Methanogens, methane gas producing bacteria, biogas production. So Methanobacterium bryanti, this is present in gobar gas to produce methane. Methane is useful for as a cooking gas, for lighting purpose. So especially in villages, this methane production is a popular activity in India. So here also very useful. Next, alcohol. Alcohol is produced mostly by yeast, but some bacteria are useful in production of alcohol. For example, Zymomonas mobilis, this is used for production of alcohol. Vinegar, acetic acid, a very famous one which is used in pickles also. Acetic acid bacteria, AAB. So by the process of oxidation, sugars or ethanol are converted into acetic acid by a process called fermentation. In the same way, acetone, a kind of chemical, it is produced acetone-butanol fermentation process. This you can see Clostridium bacterium in the picture. So from this bacteria, acetone is produced. Organic acid production is also there, or different kinds of organic acids are present. They are useful in industries, they are useful in medicine and food production. So Corynebacterium glutamicum, this is used in production of organic acid. Perfumes, scents of perfumes. So genetically modified bacteria are nowadays used to produce perfumes in factories itself. Next, biomining, mining, especially iron. To find iron is extracted from the ground, inside the soil, inside the ground, especially sulfide minerals, pyrites. Iron pyrites are present, FeS2. This kind of minerals can be extracted by using sulfur chemosynthetic sulfur bacteria, iron bacteria are used in the extraction of minerals from the soil. All these things, the most important aspect of bacteria is they keep ecological balance. They are useful in biogeochemical cycles. They are useful in a cycling and recycling of minerals in the atmosphere. Carbon, lot of carbon is accumulated on the earth in the form of garbage, in the form of waste materials, plant materials, dead bodies of animals. All these things are again converted back into carbon. Carbon cycle is being maintained. Carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is maintained because of decomposing bacteria, mineralizing bacteria, nutrient cycle I have already told in the beginning. So bacteria are useful in maintaining carbon cycle. They are useful in oxygen cycle. The major part of 90% of oxygen in the atmosphere is produced by a bacteria called blue-green algae or cyanobacteria. So this bacteria, they release oxygen into the atmosphere. So bacteria are very useful in maintaining oxygen cycle. They are useful in cleaning up toxic waste, poisonous waste, industrial products. After in hospitals also, lots of toxic products might be released into the atmosphere. They may cause cancer, they may damage endocrine disruptions like the thyroid glands, or kidney damage, liver damage, heart diseases, obesity, that is a fattening of the people, diabetes, sugar disease. So for this one, bacterium, that is Dihalococcioides echinogenes, this bacterium is useful, that removes chlorine from these cancer causing substances in the atmosphere, in water, in soil, and they avoid this kind of things. For example, carcinogenic chemicals like perchloroethylene PCE, trichloroethylene TCE, from these substances it removes chlorine and saves human beings from different kinds of diseases. I think you have understood what are the different uses of bacteria. We should be very much thankful to them. So what is most important thing is next, cleaning up of oil spills. So for example, when ships are actually oil is transported from one country to the other country through ships, tankers would be there. Sometimes accidents may occur, so oils may spill out of the ship and they spread several hundreds of kilometers or thousands of kilometers over the surface of the seas and oceans. So they will kill a number of organisms, number of fishes, whalefish, dolphins, octopus, different kinds of plants, animals in seas and oceans. To avoid that, nowadays scientists are using different bacteria. So those bacteria will eat the petroleum eating bacteria there. For example, Alcanilorix borcumensis, Idonella saccalensis, they are also useful in cleaning the oil spills. So what is more important here, I would like to tell you that please maintain ecological balance, grow trees, reduce number of buildings, increase the number of trees, increase the cleaning up of the atmosphere, keep your surroundings clean, so that bacteria can survive and make us survive. If you go on destroy the nature, so bacteria will also be destroyed. If you spray a lot of chemicals on agricultural fields, lot of bacteria will be damaged. If you pollute air, water, soil, number of bacteria which are useful to us will be killed. That's why we should maintain